somewhere within the Ummah, on an average of every 62 days, we was defending the faith of Islam. The Muslims were warned that the aim of their war should not be self-interest nor material gain or retaliation. They should not therefore go to a war against those who were neither opposing them nor hindering them from their work. Besides this, the Holy Prophet ﷺ gave detailed instructions for keeping the war humane. He asked the Muslims to refrain from barbaric methods in warfare and from doing any kind of harm or injury to children, women, old people, and the wounded. He also prohibited the dishonoring of the dead bodies of the slain, the women, destruction of harvests, trees, animals, etc., and all other forms of cruelty, barbarism, and vandalism. The Muslims were allowed to use force only when it was absolutely indispensable and to the extent it was absolutely necessary. Persecution and oppression. No, persecution and suppression of opinion by violence, force, or threat. It is exact translation of the Arabic word fitna, as used, to fight until there's no more fitna in the land. These verses imply that it is a hideous offense to persecute a person or party by harassing and oppressive treatment for the holding of ideas and theories which were opposed to those in vogue at the time, and it is abominable to inflict on people injury and punishment for adhering to and propagating those ideas and theories with a view to reforming the way of society. Through bloodshed is an evil thing, yet to oppose and harass others for adhering to their own faith and principles and to force them to give these up and adopt those of the oppressor is far worse than this. Oppression is worse than slaughter. Therefore, it is also lawful and justifiable to use force against such people as a resort to brute force instead of argument. So if they have the Crusades and they come and they take over our land and Palestine, in other words, this comes into play. Would you turn the heat up just a little bit? In this verse, the word fitna has been used in a different sense. From the one in verse 91, it is 191. It's quite obvious from the context which occurs that here it denotes the condition of society which is not safe or free from adoption of the way of Allah. That is why the Muslims have been exhorted to continue the fight to change the state of affairs and to restore peace and freedom for the way of Allah. It should also be noted that the Arabic word deen, which has been translated here, way originally means submission, and is technically used for that way of life which is built on the sovereignty of someone whose command and regulation are to be followed. Remember, with Yusuf, they use the term Deen al-Malik, the law or the way of the king. Therefore, that condition of society in which there is the rule of man over man, and in which it is not possible for anyone to follow the way of Allah is fitna. If you had living in Iraq under Saddam Hussein, this was a brute boy. If they had a picture of Saddam in the school and the kid said, I hate that picture, they'd go get his parents and they'd be long gone. Long gone. The Shia brothers from Saudi Arabia, during my time, I mean all of them that I knew, some used to visit here. When we was over on 8th Street, when they would go back, they had a book, a magazine called Monitor. The Saudis lied to them and tell them, oh, we reform, y'all all come back. So when they would go back one by one, they would bring all of their stuff to our masjid. That's why all them thobes and all of the Arab clothes in those days. They would bring everything they had and they would go back. The last one that left, the leader, he was a little skeptical. He was all skeptical. But they were all Shias. And they told him, no, you come on back. They stopped printing the Monitor. And as time went by, they went back. When they didn't go back before the little peace offering, they would grab their parents and say, you come back, but stay over there in America if you want, but I got your mama and your daddy right here. That's a cold crew. That was the style. They did that. So the point is, every place you're not able to speak of Allah and His Messenger in the process that you have adopted. See, if you face our Qibla, eat our meat and pray in the form that we pray, you're a Muslim. That's how Hadith say that, right? Okay. So that means Shias are Muslims. If they're Muslims, we owe them, we can't kill them, their blood is not allowed. Right? We can't do nothing to them. Do we owe them our friendship, our relationship? What's good for them is good. We owe them that. That's not the Saudi position. Under that is this word fitna. Something else. It does not mean that Islam incites the believers to go to war to force unbelievers at the point of sword to give up disbelief and blasphemy and adopt the way of Allah instead. War is to be waged only to make them give up fitna. Let me see how I might be able to see that. And fight in the way of Allah those who fight against you, but do not commit aggression, because Allah does not like aggressors. Fight against them whenever they confront you in combat and drive them out from where they drove you out. Though killing is bad, persecution is worse, or is worse than killing. Do not fight against them near Masjid al-Haram unless they fight you there. And if they attack you first, even in the sacred area, strike them without any hesitation. This is due punishment for such disbelievers. If, however, they desist from fighting you should also do likewise, and know that Allah is forgiving and merciful. And the last one about that, go on fighting with them till there is no more a state of tribulation, and Allah's way is established instead. Then, if they desist from it, there should be no more hostility except against those who had been guilty of cruelty and brutality. So this is those series of commentary that go along with fight in the way of Allah, fight to stop persecution, fitna, destabilization in the land, and only fight in those three causes because Allah doesn't like oppression. And oppression is worse than killing. Because right there when the ayah talk about fight them at the sacred mosque, if they mess with you first, don't give them no break, because persecution is worse than being killed. Okay, I'm going to breeze through a couple more here. Yeah, well, that's the commentary on the Quranic commentary for today, and we want to always deal with some commentary during this month. And you could tell the common language of Maulana Maududi and the extra tidbits he had in there. Now imagine, this is a 16-volume set. In fact, this is a 6-volume set right here, but it has all 16 volumes in it. I remember when I went to Iran and I went to Pakistan in 88 or 89, and I went to the headquarters of Jamaat Islami. I went there for the whole show and the books and everything. And I looked and I saw volume 15 and 16, I said. Because that completed my set in those days. In those days it came volume 1 to 16. And I got that, I was as happy as I could be. But I read these 2 or 3 times. It has tons of tidbits in there that you don't get in the regular tafsir. That's why I like it. It's good common language. It's not way out there, right? But it gives the sources, Bukhari, Muslim, and what have you. So today, we want to talk about today in the time that we're living in. This is a very serious time. I know you reminded me yesterday that I had made dua that the country and the leadership be made clowns of, buffoons. And I've been writing and talking about that for a long time. How much are this goes? Panic, fear, perfect. Okay. Also, we talked a lot about fear and panic. Okay, now let's just take the natural process, not in detail. But the first ayahs that we dealt and the section we dealt with coming from Hadith was about panic. The ayah, righteous and not turn your face to the east and the west, but righteousness believing in Allah, His books, His angels, His messengers, and giving in to those who travel in the way of Allah, and those who are patient and perseverance throughout all periods of adversity and panic. When you first think about, well, I'll just give, my opinion is that we're in the very first stages of this right now. The reason we haven't mentioned panic, because we wanted to see where they was going. what I'm going to say is to try to outline something that they've been doing and they don't know what they're doing. The system itself and the people, the rumor mills are starting to crank up. Okay. The rumor mill inside the United States and outside, well, the internet, I don't mess with it much, but I'll start doing it in a little while, because the rumor mill got trillions of rumors, right? Okay, right now, they might as well enjoy this. Talking about being at home by yourself, this is the best part of it. This is my belief, and I'll give you the reason why. First of all, economically, they just gave money away. Let's say they said $2.5 trillion, and then they just gave another $0.5 trillion. That's not going to do any good. The first didn't do any good. And the first focused on the big boys. When all the medium-sized and poor people got there, they said it ain't no more money. That's in 1 week. They gave all their money to their homeboys. Okay. For them, that's not good. It's going to come back to bite them. Now they're doing another, but that's not going to do a whole lot. It's going to help the people a little bit that got businesses. But they're like, they say now it's 26 million people applying for unemployment. Okay. When you look at the society, you look at, if you apply for unemployment, that means you worked in a standard job. You worked in a place that took money out of, out of your check. And it's there for them to see. Now, you look at all the Latinos. Think back 20 years ago, 30 years ago, they was pushing their cars down the street, they was doing this. Now, look at vans, official racks on the top. Some even got their name on the side. Okay. But how many of those guys are taking money out for the guys that's working with him? His nephew, his cousin, or even his wife. A lot of times, the wife be working right along with him. So now, let's think how many of them. What if this thing goes a minimum of a year? Or let's say the end of the year. What's going on during that time? Boss man is paying everybody to stay home. That's why this is such a trap. We said it from the beginning. There's nothing they can do. If they don't pay people their salary, they're going to tear up the place. Because this happened too quick. It happened too quick. This has been only, let's say a couple of months this has been happening. I mean in America. They got to pay people. Or they're going to rebel. They give the money away, they give it to the rich people. The poor people, the jackleg mechanics, all these guys, the jackleg electricians, who might do a reasonable job. They're not keeping no money out for themselves, and they can't go get no money. The people that have a little bit of money, they're going to start keeping it close to themselves. They already started to do that. The economy in America is a consumer economy. Japan has a production economy. China has a production economy. That's why, can you imagine? The medicine we get here in America come from China. Can you imagine the mask that we're getting? They said, we got to get it from Korea, and we got it, everybody's that went into this stuff now. Thailand, everybody getting into it. Why? Why would America slip in a situation where it don't produce nothing that it uses? A few cars. Who's going to buy those cars? Who's going down to the new car? When all the new cars roll off the showroom? The new 2021 come out? If it come out. You know, after World War II, they didn't make a 42, they didn't make a 43 or 44 or 45. The first car that came out, I remember the Cadillac came out, guess what it had? It had an automatic transmission, driving low, 1946. The rest of it was for war material. The only cars that came out, you know the way they bring them out in October, November, December, the only 42 was those. There was no more 42s. All the cars, they went from making no Jeeps, 100 Jeeps a year, to a billion Jeeps. They changed the economy. Why America? They're telling the people, we want you might have to wear plastic bags around yourself. Plastic bags. Because of covering them. You know, maybe cut a hole and make a poncho over this way and wrap it around the bottom. Are they saying that? Are they not? Yes, they are. They tell the people, the first responders, we'll get to them in a minute, but now the first responders that went into World Trade Center and all of that, what are they telling them? Where's their pension? There was a guy on the news a month ago, I don't know if y'all seen him, he was technically crying, one of the ones that died, the fireman. They treated them like dogs. Where's their pension? Their pension, they can turn it over to the bank. The bank stole their money in the last go round. Each fireman should have $1.3 million in his pension. They don't have that no more. Who's going to pay that? The government's going to have to pay it because the pension, the union leaders and all that worked with the banks and sold them out,